Assalamu alaikum. This is going to be my first English podcast because my guest is an English person. So how do I introduce him? Let's just say that every once in a while there comes an individual who tries to challenge the limits of a human body or of a human mind, of human capabilities, what a human being is able to achieve. And you can take an example of Roger Bannister. You can take an example of Usain Bolt. You can take an example of David Goggins. These are the individuals who try to defy the limits of a human being's capabilities or limit of a human being. How else do I introduce you? I'm joined by one such individual, and I just happened to stumble upon one of his videos, and I contacted him, and he was nice enough to, respond to my videos. And now, we're kind of becoming friends in a very short period of time, a small period of time. He's visiting Pakistan. Without further ado, let me introduce you to the individual. He is Mitch Hutch, also known as Mitch Hutch. How you doing, brother?
Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
No, it's been great.
Okay.
So nice to.
So I have introduced you. So how should I introduce you? How else should I introduce you? What exactly are you doing? Because for those people who haven't seen your videos, what exactly are you up to?
So I'm in Karachi meeting the amazing you, making friends, because this is en route of my 13,000 kilometer triathlon from England to the summit of Everest. Which will be hopefully the longest climb of Everest in history. So it's a 8-month, 13,000 kilometer quadrathlon.
It's not a triathlon. It's more like a quadrathlon.
The first ever triathlon to the top of the world and the longest climb of Everest in history. So a swim, cycle, run, hike, trek, and climb from start line was in Dover in England on the 15th of September. And so far, I've cycled over 8,000 kilometers from France to here in Pakistan so far, and still have another 3,000 kilometers left of cycling, and then 1,300 kilometers of running and hiking, and then climbing to the top of Everest, hopefully. So we're only 4 months in, 4 months in, so we still have 4 months to go. So it's a long way.
Yeah. And, you know how the saying actually goes is that the first step is the hardest. And you started with the most hardest part. Yeah. Okay, what was the hardest part that you did?
So day one, we're on day 103 right now, but day one was what I knew would be the hardest part of the entire challenge, the entire expedition, which turned into an 18-hour, 19-minute swim, 40-kilometer swim from England to France in some of the most brutal weather waves I've ever seen in my life. I mean, swimming wise, I was quite unlucky, but I was also very lucky to make it. It was 5 hours of trying not to drown, basically. But as it come into France, and had to draw on every bit of determination. Had to draw on every single bit of resilience I had just to get through. So that was day one. Yeah, and since then it's been easy. Not easy, but I compare it to day one. But I always knew that would be the hardest part, because when you're swimming across the sea, it's out of your control. You're fighting the tides, the waves, the currents, jellyfish, the cold. You never know what's going to happen, So since then, cycling has been okay. Because when you're cycling, if you get tired, or when you're running and you get tired, you can just stop for a minute. You can have a stretch. But when you're swimming for over 18 hours, you can't just stop. You can't hold on to anything. You can't do anything. So that was the hardest part, day one.
So for those of you watching, if you're not familiar, the Mitch Hutch you're watching right now is a much more thinner version of Mitch Hutch, who started on day one.
Much thinner, yeah. About 7 kilos lighter than 102 days ago.
Oh, it's got to be more than that.
I don't know. I can't tell you. I haven't weighed myself since a broken weighing scales in Serbia. Yeah. And even that's what I'd lost a few, so who knows.
Even he's put on, you can say that he's all muscle right now, and
skin and bone.
Yeah. Oh, you have to watch the video. I think we'll call you like a 1,501st person to swim across the English Channel.
I'm not sure of the numbers, but there's over 5 times more people have summited Everest than have ever swam across the English Channel.
And that 5 times is more. Many people have summited Everest, but they're the guys who usually flew to Kathmandu, to whatever it is, to get to the base camp, had a bunch of Sherpas with them, and then they finished that thing.
There's only one guy in history that's ever done what I'm doing, and that's the last phase. Wow. So this is a five phase: swimming, cycling, running, hiking, climbing. So just from after the 11,000 kilometer cycle ride, I finished in West Bengal near Kolkata, on the ocean. And then it's 1,000 kilometer run, and then a 350 kilometer hike and climb. So the whole point is to go from zero. So you're going from literally up to your knees in the sea. You're going from below zero to the top of the world. Wow. This has always been my dream as a child. It was done back in the early 1990s by an Australian guy. But the route I'm taking is actually longer than that. So it'll actually be the longest overall climb of Everest in history, as well as the longest sea to summit climb on foot in history as well at the same time.
Wow. If you take on a tough task, the task may be very difficult. It may seem unachievable, but if you attach an emotion or a cause to that task, it becomes much more easier, because you're doing, you have a cause that you're doing all this hard work for. What is the cause that you're doing it for?
Oh, many. So like it's, the only way you get through anything tough, something like this, is everyone has their own cause. Find what you love, find what you care about. Once you find what you're passionate about and once you find what you're fighting for, then life becomes easy. Not life becomes easy, but the fight becomes much more easy. Yeah. So for me, like my father died when I was young, 20, and so wanting to make him proud, imagining he's looking down on me is one of the main things. Making my mother proud, the rest of my family. For the charity, this is all for a charity helping people struggling with mental health, people that are having a bad time, and also wildlife as well. I'm a big animal lover. My whole life, I've been a big wildlife supporter. So this charity helps to save wildlife in many places. They send people over to train people to fight against the poachers and hunters and stuff. Wow. So that's another reason. So I think of the charity, the things I'm saving, the people I'm saving, the animals I'm saving. My father, one of the quotes I always think of is I always see it on Instagram. It's a picture of a lion cub and a baby lion, basically like the Lion King, and then the big lion. Okay. And all it says is, when you feel like giving up, just remember who's watching. Okay. So that's one of the things I think of. But also now, because this has become people have started to follow along. When I first thought of this, I didn't care about it becoming big. I don't care about becoming famous. I have no problem. When I first thought this, I didn't even know it was breaking a world record until 6 months after I planned it. But now we're, having hundreds of thousands of people follow along. I'm having messages every day, dozens of messages from people I'd never met, saying how much I've inspired them to get out and be happy and do what they want to do. So for me, knowing when I'm having a really tough day, knowing that by doing this today, I'm helping hundreds of people and achieve what they want. That's big. Exactly. So many things. Fuck my dad, the charity, helping other people. They're the three main things. So that's
we're going to give you, we're going to post under this video the name of the charity, the link to the charity, and also a link to Mitch's, obviously, Instagram and YouTube channels. Yeah. Where else are you on?
It's very new. So mainly Instagram and YouTube to follow along if you can.
Also on Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook as well. But Instagram and YouTube, because all the information for the charity is on the bio on the Instagram. So that's where you can donate. There's a website as well, which is again on the Instagram. But the longer videos, because again, I'm lucky now to have two guys with me. So it's not just me. Originally it was me on my own. Now I've got two amazing guys who are filming and making videos of the entire expedition, which was never planned. But now we get to document this every day, the struggle and everything. And they're making obviously amazing 20 to 30 minute videos on YouTube. So the short stuff on Instagram, please, and then the long stuff, like the channel, the Swim Across the English Channel is a 28 minute kind of quite a nerve-wracking documentary. I only ever watched it once, 2 days after I finished the swim.
I've seen it twice, so I've already seen it more than you.
Did you actually watch it twice?
Yeah, I've seen it twice.
So funny.
Yeah.
But thanks, bro. That's it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Those guys are doing a phenomenal job. I think you guys should subscribe to his channel, because there's a lot to come. Some of the stuff, by the time you're watching this video, I may not be able to release that information, but, visit his channel and you'll see all the nitty gritty, all the details of what he's going through. And when we're talking about the going through part, as the saying goes, that everybody wants to enjoy the view, but nobody wants to do the climbing.
Yeah, that's true.
So obviously when you're taking on such a daunting task, there's got to be some kind of hiccup, some kind of, problems, issues. What are some of the problems that you have so far faced?
Always so many, but that's part of the excitement and adventure as well. You never know what problems you're going to have to come up, what problems you're going to have to solve. We've had loads, our entire route of the entire expedition had to change. But after 5,000 kilometers, when I got to Turkey, 3,000 kilometers, when they ran denied our visa, we then had to divert south, and then I had to then cycle through all of Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, and then cross to Karachi, where we are sat today. So even just that, but the last 102 days, I've been in two car crashes. One major car crash where we were hit and spun 360, and if I was sat on the other side of the van, actually it completely dented the front wheel of one of my bikes. It got completely bent. Wow. That's how hard the car was hit, because they were in the back.
That happened when the bike was in the car.
So right? So I'd finished the day. So obviously what I would do is I cycle around 150 kilometers every day. I'll finish and then drop a pin in that exact position. If we're staying at a motel, then obviously they'll pick their vehicle will pick me up, we'll go back, and then come back in the morning, the sunrise, about 10 hours of cycling every day, and we'll drop me off at the exact same position that we finished, and then carry on. So I finished the day, I got picked up, was driving back, bang. I'm coming on the roundabout, somebody was doing about 80 kilometers an hour and hit us on the side and span us all the way around the roundabout. And that was one of the things. We even had a gun held at us in Serbia. But this was quite a funny story, because it was the opposite. They weren't trying to take money; they're trying to give us money.
What?
Yeah, that was quite a funny story. So they held. It was a big revolver. It was like a I can't remember what type it was. Anyway, so we were trying to get rid of the seats in this minivan that we brought, trying to get rid of the seats. So we found a scrapyard and tried to say, will you take them from us? Can you take them? And they were like, yeah, we'll take them. And of course we were like, thank you. But then they tried to pay us to take them. So we're like, no, you haven't got to pay us. They didn't speak much English. We haven't got to pay us. We just want you to take them. So they were like, no, like trying to give us money, well, I wasn't there. It was the other the two camera boys. And they were trying to give them money.
Okay.
And they were like, no. So then they got the revolver out and was like, take the money. Take the money. So that was, anyway, this was before we even left Europe. Since then, Iraq, I was ran off the road by trucks 3 times. I was knocked off my bike by a taxi. I've been chased by hundreds of dogs, some getting within inches of biting me. And this is going at 30, 40 kilometers an hour, full speed, having to swerve into trucks on the motorway in Turkey, Iraq. That's all. Yeah, so quite a few things so far has happened. Yeah.
So it's like, you face so many hardships.
Yeah.
But what keeps you going? That's the question, right? So
yeah. Again, them things we were just talking about. No matter what happens, when something bad happens to you, for me, and as it could be for a lot of people, all it is just changing the way you think a little bit, changing your mindset. It's all about being positive and seeing the positive in everything, seeing the magic in everything. So if you can just remember why you're doing something, even when something bad happens, it just gives you more of a reason why to keep pushing forward, more reason, because then when you get there, the reward, the accomplishment for you, the feeling, and the reward will be even better because of what you've had to go through to get there. Nothing worth doing is easy.
The why that you're doing it.
One of the reasons. One of the reasons. Everyone's got to find their why. Yeah. You know what I mean? But no matter who you are, it's the fact is, if the harder the journey is, the sweeter the reward. The more rewarding it is. Not only that, the more comfortable you get being uncomfortable. It's one of the main things, get comfortable being uncomfortable. The more you can enjoy being in that uncomfortable state, the more you can get used to, the more you step out of your comfort zone, the more you'll be able to push yourself. But also, one of the main reasons I do it is, and you'll find this, if you go out, if you go camping, you haven't got to do this. If you just go camping or go swimming, when you just go wild swimming or do anything, if you go for 3 or 4 days without a shower, and when you come back and when you finish, it feels amazing. That shower you have, that cup of chai, that cup of tea, it tastes like the best tea you've had.
That's when you learn to appreciate the availability of
So
those
basically,
things,
so these things, expeditions, challenging yourself, they allow you to see the magic in the little things. And if you can see the magic in a cup of tea, if you can start to, if by having a shower or seeing your friends that you haven't seen for a long time, all these little things that we take for granted, if you can learn to take happiness from them, it will cure depression. It cures depression. It will cure your unhappiness, and just, it will allow you to think differently and be positive.
And builds a gratitude mindset.
Be gratitude, where we live in a world today where we take everything for granted, where everything is expected, so it kind of takes us back 100 years if we can make ourselves more uncomfortable and put ourselves in. The human body, the human mind is meant to be challenged. It's meant to be pushed, because that's the only way you can grow. The only way you can grow is by doing that. If you just sit in your house all wrapped up, warm and cozy, and never go out, never do exercise, you'll be fine, you'll survive. But we're meant to live.
You won't be able to.
We're meant to live, not survive. So yeah.
So that's the Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
To live, not really survive. But here's the thing, because many of people who are watching this stuff, and you already mentioned this thing, you got to get out of your comfort zone. That's where the human body grows, human mind grows. You have spent 100 and how many days right now?
103, I think. Yeah, this is 103
days.
Yeah.
You have faced all these scenarios, so many hardships, so many problems, and yet you continue to do what you're doing for over 100 days now.
Yeah.
How has that experience changed, Mitch, that was 103 days before? Do you feel that you've grown?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like we were talking about, 100%. All these things that can be seen as setbacks or challenges, all they've done is make my resolve, all they've done is make my determination stronger. All they've done is give me more power, given me more fire, to finish it. All the people that told me for many years, you can't do it. You can't do it. The naysayers, that's great. They're great. People that tell you, no chance you can do that. Because there's self-doubt and doubt from other people are similar things. You know what I mean? But one of the greatest things is being able to prove yourself wrong and other people wrong at the same time. You know what I mean? So the next time anyone says to you, you can't do it, it's all about spinning it on its head. So you can change adversity not into something negative, into positive. So adversity, like someone saying, you'll never do it. Great. So that now, just put it inside you and use that. I'm going to prove you wrong. And all that will do is just give you more fuel. The more people that tell you can't do it, cool. Just be like, keep telling me. And the more you do that, then the more that it will fuel a fire inside you, and the further you'll push.
Let me build from this conversation, because I thought that I only had like a handful of questions that I could ask you.
Yeah.
From what you just said, you spend like every day proving yourself wrong as well, because in the beginning, I would say that, was there a point when you thought, maybe this is too stupid? Many people, think, why on earth am I doing this thing? Let me go back to my family, maybe let me go back to my hometown, whatever, get me into the cozy bed, not get out.
Yeah, I thought that many times.
Yeah.
It was human. That's the thing. Like, you have to accept and don't be ashamed of feeling like, don't ever be, I've wanted to quit loads of times, of course, but I haven't, There's nothing wrong with feeling like you want to quit. There's nothing wrong with that, because that is completely natural. We're human beings. Your emotions are always a roller coaster. The way you're feeling, you're always going to have highs and lows. But this is like, for anyone that's feeling low, for example, or not feeling happy at the moment, or for me, like, not just in one day, but in general. So if you had a really tough time, just all you need to remember is life is the roller coaster, and it comes in waves. So if you're all you need to remember is the light's at the end of the tunnel, And if I'm feeling low right now, as long as you kind of in your back of your head, there's just something telling you it will come back up. Okay. All you need to remember is it will come back up, and then it'll go down again. That's fine. It will go down and up. You're never going to be always down. It's going to go up. It might take days, years, months, who knows, but it will always come up. So even on the road, when like yesterday, it was the lowest I'd felt yesterday in probably about a month. And for 2 hours, I was in that headwind here, towards Hyderabad from Karachi. I had zero energy. I felt so bad. But I knew that in 2 hours, I was going to get to have lunch and a chai. Mm-hmm. And I was counting down every single kilometer. And it was shit, but I knew that it's okay, because soon this low will finish and I'll go back on a high. And but it's easier said than done, being able to push through them lows. Yeah. But as long as you just have a little thought in your head, just know that some of the main things I learned from the commandos and training in the military is a very famous sign that we have down at our training centre when things, when you get trained to within an inch of passing out, there's a very famous sign with a little cartoon character, and it says 500 meters to go, it's only pain. So this is one of the things you need to remember. No matter how bad it is, no matter how low or no matter how much pain you're in, physically or emotionally or spiritually, just remember, no matter how bad it is, it's only pain. It doesn't last forever. That's all you need to remember. It's only pain. Exactly. And pain doesn't last forever. It never lasts forever.
But regret lasts.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So pain is temporary, but regret is permanent.
Pain is temporary. Regret is permanent. Exactly. So that's why I'm doing this as well, because, people ask, what's the meaning of all this? What's the meaning of life? No one has the answer to that. I don't have the answer to that, but my father told me, one day about getting to the end and trying to not regret as much, and trying to have as few regrets. So for me, I think for everyone, it's about, all we can do is, you're going to make tons of mistakes. You're going to fail loads. But when you're at the end of your life, whether that's next week or whether it's when you're 90 on your deathbed, what are you going to regret more? Are you going to regret trying and failing, or never trying?
Because if you're not trying, you're almost certainly failing.
Yeah, because I can promise you right now, like, whatever you're doing, whatever you want to do, whatever you might feel like, whatever dreams you have, I can promise you, like, when you're looking back, you'll regret it much less knowing that you gave it a go. You'll regret much less if you gave it a go, rather than thinking, I wonder if I could have ever done that. Exactly. Not knowing, because you never even tried, is much worse than giving it your best shot and failing. Failing's great, it's fine. So
let me tell you guys a little thing, that what he's talking about, I was starting this video to share with you guys, but for the viewers, for the audience, whoever, if you're listening, you're watching, but the thing is, when he's talking to me, it feels like, I'm feeling what he's saying. There are things that I was delaying. I was more like a procrastinator in that part. But now you've gotten pumped up, man. Now the other thing,
100%.
You spent some time in the military. How much of your military time, your training, the discipline, especially because for the people nowadays, for the new folks nowadays, one thing they lack is discipline.
Yeah.
One thing they lack is commitment to, let's say, a cause. Mm-hmm. A person in the military is committed to a cause, serving their country, dedicate themselves to that particular cause.
Yeah.
How much does that play in what you're doing right now?
Oh, massively. I think I underplay it. We were talking about this yesterday, me and my team, like, not necessarily like the cause for like the country, but the discipline and the resilience that it gives you, going every day without having much sleep, just going through hard times every single day, having to get through the day, being uncomfortable every moment. It definitely, I think it's already there, for a lot of people. Everybody has it. That's the positive thing. Everybody has the capability. This is going back to another one of my favorite sayings, every single person is capable, but not everyone's willing. Simple as that. Everyone's capable, not everyone's willing. So I think everyone has it, and so I probably have had it more than some other people, that's all. But the military, so it just helped me so much in doing this type of thing, because all it did was hone improve and hone in on that mindset that you need to do this. You know, one of the main, there's 4 ethos, as in like the sayings, the ethoses. So it's like the slogans of my regiment in the Marines, you know, and the one which has got me through so much, and it's the most important one when it comes to getting through any tough moments, is cheerfulness in the face of adversity. So cheerfulness in the face of adversity, it simply means no matter what shit is thrown at you, no matter how much wind is in your face, how much you hate your work, your job, no matter what pain you're going through, having the ability to just smile and laugh and push through it is like it's probably the hardest one to get used to. It's the hardest skill. It's not a skill, you know, it's a mindset. It's not a skill, it's a mindset. It's something anyone can learn, you know, anyone can learn. For some people it's harder. For me, I'm a very positive person, probably have ADHD, you know, so for me it's easy. So it's easy for me to sit here and say, like, you know, anyone can do it, but they can. For some people it might take a bit longer, it might take a bit more work, it might be harder. But yeah, so one of the main things from the military that I took from it was learning cheerfulness in the face of adversity.
Yeah. Putting on a happy face.
Yeah. It's not even like putting on, you know, you genuinely learn to, it's not pretending to be happy when things get tough. Like, it's just like when things are bad, genuinely just being like, just laughing at it, because it's not going to change the outcome, you know. So you're going through it either way. You're going through a tough time in life, anyone. You're going to go through it, you know. You can't change.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
You can't change it. So smile and go with it, because it will make you come out of that rut much quicker if you can smile. So yeah.
Well, now I have a reason to smile.
Yeah,
there you go.
Absolutely,
you just gave me a reason.
That's it.
So let's bring this. You are gonna go from here.
Yeah.
You're gonna go and you're gonna still cycle all the way down to West Bengal, and then you're gonna do another tough thing.
Yeah.
Before you do the most toughest of them all.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be doing a marathon.
Yeah, so I've still got 1,000 kilometers in Pakistan, and then another over 2,000 kilometers in India. That's cycling, and then the cycle finishes. So that's when it's a triathlon. So that's when the cycle finishes when I get to the beach, and then I'll ditch the bike, and that's where the foot stage starts. So then it's the equivalent of 33, the same distance as 33 marathons to Everest, and then climbing Everest.
Wow.
Yeah. Not necessarily boom, 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 but, you know, I'm aiming for like 30 to 40 kilometers every day. And then, God knows, I don't know how many, I don't know. We'll see.
But you have to do this before, you told me, like before
April.
So
it's kind of, it's a race, because you can only climb Everest in May. So I've given myself 6 or 7 months to get there. So I have to arrive there by a certain time. So I have to be in Nepal by April, or at base camp by April, to climb Everest.
So I have like a couple of questions before we wrap this thing up. The first thing was that, as I was talking about growth, when we have certain perceptions about certain people, you know, any people, we have certain perceptions based on the media, based on, you know, somebody else's, a third person, right?
Yeah.
But when we meet them in person, our perception completely changes. Mm-hmm. You have been through how many countries so far?
This is country 17.
16
countries. Or 17.
16 to 17 countries. You've met different cultures, different kind of folks.
Yeah, so many.
Do you believe that your perception about certain people that you might have had before 103 days?
Yeah, 100%.
Has changed.
100%. You know, like, everything, my faith in humanity, my faith in people has just been lifted so much. Like I've never been like doubting. I've never had like a negative view on people, but it's life, it's natural. You know, when people think of Iraq, for example, especially our generation, people think of Iraq, they just think of a country that's been torn by war. You know what I mean? They think, oh, it's dangerous. You know, I never had that in my mind, but there was something in my head, obviously, which because of where I'm from, probably I was like a little bit nervous, you know, but I shouldn't be. And I went in there and as I was happily not surprised, but happily, you know, it was just amazing. By far the nicest people I've probably ever met in my life. You know, it's the same as the Arab world and Iraq. You know, much more friendly than probably most of the UK. Much more, you know what I mean? And like, people just have a misconception, especially in the West. You know, people just believe what they hear on the news. You know, and just take it for you know, but. Just go. People need to just go and forge their own opinion. You know, you need to open your eyes and just, yeah. So I was open. My eyes were opened more than what I thought they would be by just the amazing people. You being one example. Genuinely, like people reaching out to me, getting here, and my time here would have been so much harder without you. So. Thank you, bro.
What bakery do you work at? Because, you know, you got a lot of butter on you. But anyway, what is the message that you want to give to those people who are watching? Because, you know, like Andrew Tate called this thing, he called it, you know, the television as legacy media. And people who will be watching this thing, they're going to be watching in the new media, a better source of information, social media, or sitting on their toilet seat, or, you know,
good place to watch. Yeah, good place to watch.
And they're procrastinating in whatever the thing that they want to do in their life. Do you have any message for the viewers?
Yeah. The main message from all this is the reason I'm doing it is, as it was from the beginning, is just to show this is just an extreme example of what's possible, you know? I've done this because I'm not a cyclist, I'm not a swimmer, I'm not a runner, I'm not a professional athlete. I'm really not. Yeah, of course I'm fit, but that's because I work hard. The main message of this is you don't have to be superhuman. You don't have to be a super athlete to achieve your wildest dreams. All you need is a bit of positive mindset. That's all you need. So that's the main message. The other main message is, again, don't be pressured. Never compare yourself to anybody else. You know what I mean? One person's marathon, ultra marathon, is just as important and just as pure and important as the next person's 5 kilometer walk. It doesn't matter. My message is just, if you want to do something, if you wanted to do something, if you want to try something, do not care about what anyone else has done. Just go and do you. Do you. Do yourself. You want to go and ride a motorbike for the first time, go and try it. Go for a little ride, you know. I had never ridden a bicycle more than 50 kilometers before, like 2 years ago. You know, and then I flew to Europe and cycled 700 kilometers, and then I flew to America and cycled 5,000 kilometers. You know, take little steps, and just don't be scared to take these little steps. So yeah, the main message is don't compare yourself to anyone. Do your own thing. You haven't got to be Superman or Wonder Woman, or you haven't got to be this crazy person to achieve things. You just need to believe in yourself. You just need to believe in yourself a little bit.
Man, you know, I really want to continue this conversation because, you know, every time, like, I don't know when we're going to be seeing each other.
Oh, we will be. We will be again. For sure. As I was saying before, like, yeah, coming through these countries is so annoying because I have to leave so quick because I have to just keep going, pushing every single day. But what it has made me excited for is all these people and places I've seen, bro, coming back to them and being able to see them and enjoy them as a tourist rather than some idiot doing some challenge. It's going to be so much sweeter.
Do watch his video on, if you haven't seen Mitch, if you don't know who Mitch Hutchcraft is, you know, just watch his video of Crossing the English Channel, and I guarantee you're going to be hooked. If you want to check out his Instagram page, he puts on some really awesome reels. You know,
every day.
Yeah, and credit goes to Ben for that, right? Ben Stan, those are guys doing this thing.
We've got a world-class team helping us out here. It's great.
You watch them, and now the last question is going to be just for my own personal, because, you know, I'm learning so much from this conversation that, you know, I got to ask you this question. 103 days of constantly pushing your limits, no matter what you're doing, but you know that you have to achieve your goals. And pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, you know, pushing yourself to the limit, or maybe exceeding your limits. At what time, like, you know, how many days did it take you before you were just forcing yourself till it became your instinct that, you know what, I don't care about my emotions, I don't care about how I feel today. This is the goal that I have to achieve. At what day would you have like a day? Was there like a defining day, or was it the day?
Probably, honestly, day one. Day one.
When you did
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Honestly, like, you know, as I said, it's kind of, that was probably the turning moment, because I always knew it was going to be tough. But honestly, I never expected it to be that tough. Like, that day was harder than any day I had in the training for the military. It's harder than any of the challenge I've done before. But yeah, I think after that day and what I went through emotionally, physically on that day, that's when I said to myself, like, right, I'm actually thankful for that experience. I'm really thankful, because it's made me stronger. And that is when I push forward. But that's the other thing. Like, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. It genuinely does. Like, it genuinely does. And it's the same as, like, emotionally, you know, when you get really low and you have really low moments or whatever. That's all that is an experience. Like my channel swim, all that is an experience that you can now draw from. Exactly. All that is another bullet for your magazine to give you the ammunition to push forward.
Tell everybody about
okay, string to your bow. String to your bow. I mean,
yeah, just
an arrow to your quiver, whatever it is. You're adding a stamp to your collection of things. And the more you've got the more you've got, say, like, more experiences you've got in your back pocket of these hard moments. Like for me, the channel, the more you've got, the more you can draw on them experiences. When things get tough, you can think back to, you know, I now these days, whenever things get tough, I can just think back to day one and think, right, nothing's going to be as horrible as that day. I can get through today, because it's not going to be as bad as that.
Let me tell you guys something. I could never finish David Goggins' book. Okay, I couldn't. It's just lying on my, you know.
Go back and finish it. It's a great book.
I could never finish it. I kept listening to some of his talks. I may never be able to meet David Goggins in person, but you know what? I feel very fortunate to spend some time with Mitch. I've learned a lot from his experiences. Sometimes when you're near people who are determined, who are high achievers, you get a vibe. And you can catch their vibe, and you can just apply those information, those feelings in your real life as well. But you know what? You guys should watch his videos. You guys should support him. I'm not going to delay this video as much as he's going to delay, but he's got a, you know, schedule to keep. So I'm going to put this video up, and hopefully by the time you're watching this thing, he's either, you know, in Lahore, or probably had crossed into India. So do follow Mitch, okay? And
thank you.
Yeah. See you guys later. Take care. Okay. Ride safe. Wear a helmet. And if you have anything going on, man, look, man. You have no idea what you've just done. Watch how my channel changes now. Okay. Take care.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers. Wow.
Legend. That was good, man.
Yeah.
That was very nice.
My name's Mitch, former Royal Marine Commando and now adventurer and fundraiser for an amazing small charity helping those struggling with mental health and wildlife conservation. Now, the last 3 years since leaving the military, I've rowed across the Atlantic Ocean, cycled across the United States, broken world records in the Lake District, but that's all been in preparation for the biggest challenge of my life, which is what we're doing right now. Limitless, 12,000 kilometers to Everest, is the world's first triathlon, swimming across the English Channel, 10,500 kilometer cycle ride across 17 countries, and then a 1,300 kilometer run, hike and climb to the top of the world, which will be the longest climb of Everest in history and the first ever triathlon to the top of the world. This expedition is about so much more than just breaking records and raising money for a great cause. It's now become a chance to inspire millions along the way, that you don't have to be superhuman or a super athlete to achieve your wildest dreams. All you need is the right mindset and you can do anything. We still have 5 months left to go, and we've only raised half the funds needed to complete this expedition. So we're looking for partners and sponsors to help join us as we make history and inspire millions along the way. I'm travelling with a world-class production team that's on the ground with me every single day, already producing amazing content with a reach in the millions, and we're only just getting started. So if you want your company flag flown on the top of the world in the longest climb of Everest in history, please send an email to the address on screen right now and follow us on the socials _Mitch Hutch. Thank you so much for your time, guys. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the day.